Comics here, and today's video is gonna be a little bit long. I don't know, I'm not sure 100%. It might be, you'll see. You can see. But it is going to be basically talking about fake friends and my horrible friend group experience, in art school, unfortunately, but also something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. First, I do want to say what is going on in the background. So I am basically just drawing my OC red. That's about it. If you did see the latest vote on my posts on YouTube, I will be making a new series talking about each of my OCs, so stay tuned for that. Definitely subscribe and like if you are wanting to hear about like somebody else's OCs and such. Like I always say, like, my channel is here for you to like listen to while you draw, not only while you draw, play video games, etc. like that. You know, just put it in the background. If you want to look at the art, glance over a little bit, but continue what you're doing. I'm just here to yap, and you can listen to me yap. So this video is going to highlight why I disappeared for so long, and honestly, the situation I have hinted at in past videos. I will clarify, I will not be naming names in this video. I repeat, I will not be naming actual names in this video. Everybody will be named under, like, colors, just to basically, for me to know who each person is, and such, so I will not be naming real names. Everyone will remain anonymous, as this is not a call-out video, but a video about me venting my experience and my frustrations with these people. It's me talking about exactly the events of what happened, with this particular friend group. I will also state that they might be watching this video, and I'm not sure if they're still subscribed. I honestly don't really care if they are, and I don't care if they aren't. But if you guys are still subscribed, and if you guys are seeing this video, this is not an attack at you guys. This is just me sharing my experience and the pain that you guys have brought me. And just, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just saying what happened from my memory, and also from text messages and such. Well, will not be providing text messages out of privacy for the other people involved, but I will be talking about the situation of what happened. Like I said, this is just me talking, me yapping, and such, and venting my experience with these people. To the people that might be watching this video and are involved in the situation, and I know you guys are all still friends, and if you do talk about this amongst yourselves, and if you want to, I don't really care. If you want to shit talk me, I don't really care. Do what you please, do what you want. I don't really care. If you do want to reach out and actually give me an explanation, because keep in mind, everybody that is watching this video, I never received an explanation, and you will see by the end of this video of exactly what happened and what I have not received an explanation in. I've not received an explanation for anything. They kind of just disappeared, and I never heard from them again after the school year ended. So I think that if you guys want to reach out, give me an explanation at least. We don't have to be friends. I don't really feel comfortable being friends with you guys anymore, but an explanation might be nice, but if you don't want to, then that's fine as well. I will live with that, and that's okay. And as I said before, the situation will be told with me holding nothing back. I will be telling times that I have done wrong and times that they have done wrong, because I don't want you guys to be biased because I am the one telling the story. I want you guys to either, if you want to take their side, you can. If you want to take my side, you can. If you want to see who is right and who is wrong, you can. You can form your own opinion, and that is what the comment section is for you to talk about it, and even share your own experiences with. And if you've ever been in a similar situation, I love to hear your guys' stories. I want to hear your guys' stories, and I like that you guys are able to relate. It makes me sad that you're able to relate to a lot of my situations, but I want you guys to relate, and I want to be there for you guys to, like, relate to me and my stories, so you feel like you have a voice that is being told. But yeah, lastly, trigger warnings. This video will mention topics such as suicide and self-harm. If those topics are too much for you, please just check out one of my other videos. I have so many other videos that you can watch. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. Now, let's start at the very beginning. August 2024 was a big time for me, okay? I was leaving my home state for my dream city, and my dream city being New York City, to my dream art school of visual arts. Upon arriving to my dorms, I had met two of my first two roommates. We will call Green and the other one Blue. After I moved in and, got all my stuff settled in, decorated and such, after me and Green had met each other, me, Blue, and Green, at the nighttime, decided to go on a night walk, talk, get to know each other, and then when we came home, to the dorms, I was the only one that brought a TV, so we ended up watching, TV shows on the TV because Green had Regular Show on the DVD, so we were watching Regular Show, and talking about it, and at the time, they were super cool. I loved talking with them, and it was a very odd experience because, being around people that were into the same things as I was into, was very cool to me. Being with other artists as well. So I was very excited. I was so happy to finally be there. And as time went on, I had met my last roommate who was a little bit late, and we will call him Yellow. Okay, so at first glance, I had a crush on him, okay, and he was cute, I thought at the time, and I was excited to find out that we were the same majors. As people that don't know, if you're new to my channel, I am a comics major. And then I met Green's friend, Red. And I fucking loved Red. I loved Red. Red was amazing. And they just were awesome. I loved their vibe. I loved their jokes. And with Red entering the friend group as, obviously my main three roommates, which was Green, Blue, and Yellow, and then Red entering, which Red did not dorm with us, but Red was Green's friend, we all became a friend group. It formed us. Now, let's fast forward to me and Yellow. We became close, maybe too close. You know how I said he was cute before? I full-heartedly believed that. I believed even more about him, and we spent a lot of time together, one-on-one. And me and the friend group spent a lot of time together, but me and him spent more time together one-on-one, a lot of the time, and as time went on, I confessed to him. We became friends with benefits, which most of you might be sighing, and then it ended. Then we brought up the friends with benefits again, a couple days later, and then we became a couple. Now you may be thinking, did anyone else in the group know? Well, the answer is maybe. We decided to keep it a secret, which wasn't good for the friend group whatsoever. But I'm sure they knew. I mean, most of us lived in the same apartment, so I'm 100% sure that they all knew. They just didn't say anything because they knew that we wanted to keep it a secret. So, anyways, the relationship ultimately didn't work out, which, wow, a relationship with my roommate didn't work out? Who would have guessed? And basically, I had a panic attack. And he didn't know what to do, so he ended up leaving me. And that's exactly what happened at that moment, in that situation. I don't think he claims till this day, I haven't spoken to him in forever, but last time we did talk, he claims that he did not leave me because of the panic attack, but I think it was just immaturity. He just didn't know how to handle the situation, which isn't his fault. Keep in mind, I am not saying that he is a bad person. I'm not saying anyone in this situation is a bad person. I just think that they handled everything horribly. I do not hate these people, but I do not like these people. I must lay that out straight. Anyways, the breakup tore me apart. It literally broke me because we didn't really know each other that long, and we did jump into a relationship. We knew each other from, August up until September, and then we started dating, towards, kind of in September, and then we broke up towards the end of this September. I mean, like, or no, October. We broke up around, like, the end, like, around October, and that was a very short-lived relationship, and we didn't even really know each other that long, but at the moment that I met him, I really, really, really liked him. I felt like I full-heartedly loved him. So when he did break up with me, I was a mess. I was in tears. I was ugly crying. I was all over. It broke me. And, like, part of me was like, well, maybe, like, if I get to know him more throughout the year, you know, if I get to know him more throughout the school year, I don't really like him that much. Maybe it was just infatuation, at the start. Maybe it was just sexual attraction. I was, you know, at the same time, I was like, maybe it was just that. But ultimately, when we did break up, the friend group did find out. I mean, they knew. I'm sure they knew. I'm pretty sure they knew, if I remember correctly. But obviously they acted surprised, I'm pretty sure. And yeah. After the breakup, the friend group tried to be there for me as best as they could. And, like, I think back at that because I'm very confused with how their treatment is to me today, compared to when everything was going down, because they were very much there for me. And they were good friends when it came to the breakup. So you may be wondering, Dare, what does this have to do with the friend group? This is literally a sob story about your ex. Don't worry, kids. It's a crucial part of the story. This is literally the whole, like, this is everything. This is a whole part of the story. This is very important. So this is why I bring it up. I did not go into exact detail of what happened because, like, this is not a video specifically about me and Yellow. This is a video about the friend group. So I only highlighted the important parts, and then I will be getting into the friend group shit. So let's fast forward some more with me and Yellow, okay? We are trying to be friends, and the friend group is continuing as per usual. I did start to notice I was a bit of a background character within the friend group. I would often be ignored. I would often be made fun of for my interests, and I wasn't really invited to join in on movie/TV show nights because they would say that it didn't seem like something I would like, which I don't understand what that means. I was included in D&D because we all play D&D together, but at the time I at the time I didn't think too much about me being ignored and such. Like, I would get kind of upset whenever they would ignore me when I was talking to them, or whenever they would just kind of stare at each other whenever I would say something and kind of giggle. So I kind of just, you know, I ignored it. It wasn't a big deal. But then, like, over time, I started to realize certain things when we stopped being friends, and I was like, oh shit, that's kind of weird, you know? But yeah. Behind the scenes, I was shattered over me and Yellow's breakup. Like I said before, I was hurt, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And Green would go out to eat with me when they noticed that I was down in the dumps, and that was fun. I also went and got help. I started seeking therapy and a psychiatrist. And for those that are not regular viewers of my channel, I will be going into, you know, like, mental health stuff right now. I did get diagnosed with BPD, borderline personality disorder, and bipolar 2. I started medication. Like I said, I started therapy. And I started to get somewhat better, but obviously I was still down in the dumps. Now, let's go ahead and skip a bit. There's a lot of skipping here. Just want to, you know, make this video not super long. Me and Yellow would argue every other week about our relationship, as I couldn't mentally handle us being friends. I just couldn't handle being friends with someone I was in love with. And keep in mind, this was going on months and months and months after our breakup. And I started to realize that the more I was friends with him, I was falling more and more in love with him. And it just hurt even more that I couldn't be with him. He would ultimately take back words of us trying again. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I don't really remember. But he did, when we did break up, he said that we could try again. He did take it back months later and said that we will not be trying again. And that crushed me. But part of me still thought I had a chance, which was really fucking stupid. And I don't know why I thought that, but I did. I would vent to Red about the situation, and they would give me as much advice as they could. Then came February. This is where things get really dark. Me and Yellow needed to come to a conclusion on where we stood, since we continued to argue over what we were. I would initiate these arguments, unfortunately. Since I was all over the place, I would start an argument with him. But me, Yellow, Green, and Red all talked. Yellow had multiple reasons for leaving me, but the one I believe is that he just wasn't ready for commitment, which is okay. He wasn't ready for commitment, and he didn't know how to handle someone with mental health issues, which is okay. That is not a crime. That is not a bad thing. If you can't handle someone with mental health issues, you should not be in a relationship with someone with mental health issues. And you shouldn't force yourself in a situation with someone that has mental health issues. You should always leave that situation if you do not feel like you can handle it. If you aren't ready for commitment, you should not force yourself into a relationship. And he did the right thing by leaving. Yes, it did hurt me, and, obviously I'm allowed to be hurt, but he is also valid for leaving me in that situation. At the time, I was not thinking rationally, so I was acting out. I was starting arguments and such. And he's not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy, and neither of us are bad guys. Although, to get right to the story, that night we came to a conclusion that living with him wasn't good for my mental health, which was very true. So they all suggested I move out, which crushed me at that time, because I felt like I lost him. I felt like I lost my friends. I felt like I was getting kicked out of the friend group, because everything that we ever did was in that dorm room together. Red lived in a separate dorm from us, so Red would come over and hang out with us. We would be up all hours of the night, doing stupid shit. It was really fun, and I felt like I was being kicked out of the friend group at the time, and I felt like I lost my best friend, Yellow, and I was so hurt. After that conversation, I went to bed, and I cried. I then went to the bathroom, and I began to self-harm. Then I went to go take multiple pills, attempting to self-exit. I went to bed with the expectation that I wasn't going to wake up in the morning, and then the next morning I was awake. I felt awful. I felt sick, but I skipped class. I vented to a friend about what happened, and they ended up informing the school, which the school had ultimately sent me away to the psych ward. I had contacted Red about the situation, and they said I can call them while I'm in there, if they have phones that I can use. And keep in mind, I've struggled with mental health my entire life, okay? But I have never been to a psych ward. Never. So this is, completely a new territory for me. I've heard stories about the psych ward. I've never been to the psych ward. During my stay, I wasn't allowed to have phones, although they, my own phone, but they did have phones that you could call others. I called Red, we talked, we laughed, and after a week, I was released. And when I got home, everyone seemed happy to see me, I guess. It was mainly your back, but obviously, I don't, your reactions isn't, a huge problem. That's not a big deal. But Yellow, however, couldn't really look me in the eyes, which I understood because he probably felt like in that situation that it was his fault when it wasn't. And Yellow, if you're watching this, please do not blame yourself for what happened in February. It's not your fault. I was broken mentally. Due to the circumstances of me being sent to the psych ward, my school, they knew the situation and helped me with moving out into a new dorm room. My friend group assured me that I could still come over anytime, play D&D with them, and Yellow agreed to occasional movie nights. All was well until it wasn't. I decided that me being friends with Yellow wasn't good for my mental health. I was too in love with him, and I thought us being never being together again, literally crushed me. So at first I hesitated to cut contact because Yellow was a part of the same friend group as me, and I assumed if I'd be faded out of the group if I cut contact. But I ultimately decided it was time. Me and Yellow got into an argument, me telling him he never loved me getting kicked out of the D&D group, me telling him to forget about me and to never contact me again. That night, me and Red had dinner. We talked about it as well. They assured me that this was for the best. Even they wanted to suggest I cut contact with Yellow, but they didn't know how I would take it, so they never brought it up. The months went on, and I was crying over Yellow occasionally, not hanging with the whole friend group anymore, and started hanging with online friends. I became literally a hermit, besides going to classes, and occasionally hanging out with classmates. Me and Red would grab dinner on Wednesdays, after my class, and their class was, went on break around the time my class ended, so we would grab dinner. Me and Green would hang out or go to the figure drawing club together, and draw together. Me and Red decided to be roommates for sophomore year. We toured dorms together, we completed our applications, and sometimes I would ask Red if I could vent to them, and they would listen the best they could. Finally, my birthday came. Me, Red, Green, and a couple other buddies went out in the city to all hang. I was so excited because it was the first time in a long time I had got to hang out with Red and Green at the same time. My 20th birthday was so much fun. I loved it. I loved seeing my classmates from, my friends from class and my friends of my main friend group, that I used to be a part of, interacting. It was so much fun. And as time went on, Red became distant, which I didn't think too much of, since it was finals. Everybody was busy, especially because Red is an animation major, and animation majors have to make a film, I'm pretty sure, for finals. So I was like, it's okay, it's fine. They don't have to text me all the time. They don't have to hang out with me all the time. But a red flag went off when I had asked him once, hey, you want to grab dinner with me? And they declined, saying that they're drowning in work. I said it was chill, so I went out to eat by myself. I asked if we could go grab Korean, obviously, and I went to the same Korean place by myself, pretty close to my dorm room, okay? So I was walking back home, after I finished eating, and I ran into Red, Blue, and Yellow. I said hello to Red, and they looked a bit spooked and said hello back. And then we continued to walk, and in opposite directions, obviously, and at that time my stomach dropped because part of me knew what was coming. But I never confronted Red about this. I never told Red or said to Red, hey, what the fuck was that? I kept it to myself because I was too scared. I didn't want to confront them about it, because they can do whatever they want, to be honest, but at the same time, it just hurt that they lied, basically saying that they're drowning in work, and then they are hanging out with Yellow and Blue. It did hurt me a lot, and I knew what was coming later on. It was move out week, and I was packing up my dorm to head back home for the summer. I had dyed Red's hair months back, and I still had the hair dye, and so they asked if they could come get it. They ended up coming over later that day, and they gave me a hug and told me to have a good summer, and they said bye. And that was the last time I saw Red. And you might be wondering, when's the last time I saw Green? Me and Green, I ended up giving Green my TV, because I couldn't fit in the car on the way back home, so I ended up giving Green my TV, so that was the last time I saw them. I hadn't seen Blue in a while, and Yellow, obviously me and Yellow were no longer friends, so I was avoiding contact with Yellow. I will highlight, I do not have this in my script, I did see Yellow on the bus. My school had shuttle buses. I think they recently got rid of them, but when they did have shuttle buses, I would see Yellow boarding the same shuttle bus, and I would have panic attacks occasionally and freak out, and I would open up to Red about this, and Red would talk to me about it, and they would understand. And the thing is that Red came off very understanding, and they would listen to me willingly. They would, ask me how I was doing and shit, and I would, tell them. It was the same thing with Green. Green would ask me, how have I been doing lately? And if I wasn't doing well, I wasn't going to lie. I said I wasn't doing well, and I told them I wasn't doing well, and such. Anyway, so I ended up asking for advice on a message I wanted to send Yellow, because I felt like we ended things horribly. At this point, I haven't spoken to Yellow since February, and it was May. Okay. So I basically decided to message Red and ask them, hey, does this message look good? And Red ended up helping me a little bit with revising the message, and I ended up sending it a bit later into summer. Going into summer break, I'm back home in my home state. Everybody's back home in their home states. And I had texted Red a photo of my cat, and they replied with Kitty. After that, I hadn't messaged anyone from the friend group expecting them to really contact me, but they never did. Then months went by. About a month or so went by, and the email came. I was emailed by the school notifying me of my dorm and my roommate to give me directions on where my dorm room was going to be. Although, Red was not listed as my roommate. My first thought was, maybe they made a mistake, so I took a screenshot, sent it to Red, and I said, hey, I got this email and I saw you weren't listed as my roommate. Should I contact them to see if they can fix it? I waited a week for a response from Red, and I got nothing. I then saw that they can view my stories and like my posts, so I came to the conclusion that I was being ghosted, so I asked them if they were ignoring me and if we could talk about it, and I haven't heard from them since at all. So I ended up texting Green to see how they were doing and see how their summer went and how their summer's going in this situation. And I received no response from them as well. I texted Blue to see what may have happened, see if they had any information on what was going on. Why is everybody ignoring me? Me and Yellow, like, obviously, I did end up sending that message to Yellow, but Yellow never responded. Yellow never blocked my phone number. How I know, me and Yellow both have iPhones. Obviously, if you do have iPhones, well, if you don't have an iPhone, if someone blocks you on an iPhone, normally your messages are blue. If someone blocks you, then your messages turn green. My message never turned green, so that means that Yellow never blocked me, but I never reached out after that, if that makes sense. So I sent that message and I never received a message back. Summertime has passed. We are now in December and I still have yet to receive a message back, and I don't think I ever will. So it is fine. But I did text Green, and, and such, and obviously nothing. I texted Blue, see what happened. Blue did not know what was going on, at all. He basically said that, like, he doesn't think that anybody hates me. They're probably just trying to find the words. And I didn't understand that, very well. I was distraught. And I was trying to figure out what I did wrong. And I, was trying to go through every situation. I was literally thinking of every situation. What have I said wrong? What have I done wrong to where my new friends that I loved so dearly just randomly stop talking to me and just disappear and ghost me like I did something wrong? And, in a situation like that, I don't want to play the victim. I don't want to be like, oh, I never did anything wrong, fuck them, it's their fault, not mine. But I was thinking, like, what did I do wrong to where, this happened? So I was trying to go through messages. I was looking through past messages, thinking of every situation, and the only conclusion that I could come to is that I was annoying. My depression and possibly just draining to be around overall, because I wasn't in the best mental state, which I understand, but I still feel like I deserved an explanation for why did they just randomly cut me off like this. People that I dedicated so much time and patience to, people that I loved very dearly, people that I told that were my bestest friends, people that I just were nice to me, so kind. Why would they just cut me off so suddenly? And they still are all friends till this day. I assume maybe maybe they don't talk to each other anymore. How do I know they're still friends to this day? I have a couple mutuals that also attend the same school as me on Instagram that do hang out or have hung out with these people, are friends with these people or know these people. And I have nothing against those mutuals. Those mutuals are completely fine. I don't, I'm not going to be like, you can't hang out with them, I don't like them, obviously. But I did get, jump scared, with them all hanging out. I mean, one of my mutuals on Instagram with that whole friend group, minus Blue, because Blue was in the same situation as me, which I will talk about here soon. But I saw them all hanging out, so I was like, oh, they still all hang out together, green, red, and yellow. But obviously I'm not included right now because I'll get into it. But they just cut contact with me. So I never understood what I did wrong. And honestly, like, if I did something wrong, and if I was in the wrong, I would love to know, obviously. I want to improve. I always want to improve. If I do something wrong, I would love to be told. Most of you in the comments will probably be like, oh, you don't need an explanation. Nobody needs to give you an explanation for something. Nobody owes you an explanation. No. I feel like, as someone that wants to improve and always wants to do better, if I did something wrong, I would love it if somebody communicated with me, so then I can do better as a person, so then I can fix the issue, so then I can recognize the issue and fix it, because I don't know what I did wrong. I am not aware of what I did wrong. Like I said, I tried everything in my power, go back in messages and everything to look at what I did wrong, and the only conclusion I can come to is that I was annoying about my depression. I was annoying, and I was draining to be around, and they just didn't want to be around me. And that's the only conclusion I can come to. If you have your own theories, definitely drop them in the comments. I would love to hear. But anyways, let's continue with the main story. So you would think that red, green, and blue had blocked me on everything because they ghosted me. Well, no, they did not. Red, green, and blue, and yellow did not block me on anything. They kept me on socials and even Discord. They still viewed my stories, and at the start would still like my posts, but suddenly would stop liking my posts, but still viewed my stories. I once sent a reel to Red, but I was left unseen. Months went by, sadness turned into anger. I started to realize that I did deserve an explanation at the very least, and I ended up taking a gap year from school. This will be a heavy topic, due to my mother being diagnosed with breast cancer during the summer. I was very vocal about it on my close friend story, and obviously I don't expect comfort or pity. I don't talk about it out of, pity me guys right now. It was the fact of, if one of my friends was going through that, I would reach out. I would say something. Many of my friends did reach out and say something. Red and blue viewed the story, but did not say anything to me. They are not obligated to say anything, obviously. They are not obligated to. But it did bother me a little bit. I started to become super angry at Red and upset. I mean, I told these people they were my bestest friends I've ever had. I loved them so much. I felt like I was thrown out, like I don't even matter. And ultimately, a mutual friend of mine on Instagram, like I said, was earlier, was posting photos of them all hanging out, and seeing them all together, knowing that they still all hang out, I just couldn't take it. It was time for me to let go. I blocked them on everything. I bit the bullet and I did it. I was done. I just couldn't take it anymore. I let them follow me for as long as they did, just in case, maybe they'll give me an explanation. Maybe they'll say something. Maybe they'll reach out. Maybe I will hear from them one more time. I missed them so much. But I never received anything. How has this all affected me today? I still struggle till this day with reaching out and making friends. I am terrified of getting close with people. I am terrified of dating and relationships. I have been mentally stable, but I think it's because I've kept such a distance away from people. I have not branched out as much as I used to. During the beginning of my first year in art school, I branched out. I talked out. I hung out. I was fun. I laughed, I was all over the place. I was myself, and I wasn't like how I am now. And after that situation, it made me scared to talk to people. I am scared to date. I am scared of making friends because I am scared that this will happen. Because at the start, they seemed like good friends. They seemed so awesome, so sweet. And then this happened. So it just ruined my trust. And I think that's what's kept me mentally sane. Obviously, when I do go back to art school next year, I do hope to make friends. I do hope to try and branch out better, but right now I've kept kind of a 5-foot pole with people, unfortunately. And when I do try to reach out, I kind of get scared, so then I chicken out because I'm scared of something like this happening again. I am scared of it so dearly, and it sucks so bad. It really does. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I know that this was a long one, very long, but that's the story of my horrible friend group experience. And like I said earlier, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And if you do like story content like this, then you should subscribe. It helps me a lot, seeing your support, seeing you guys interact in the comments, talk about your stories too. I urge you, if you have a story similar to this, or have a story kind of like this, a bad friend group experience, share it in the comments. People will listen. People want to hear your story. I want to hear your story. And of course, I would love to hear your opinions on my story as well. And that's all for today. I look forward to making more content for you guys, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!